I've certainly met parents who have lost their kids to fentanyl overdoses. We all know people who have lost family members, and that's the most horrible thing that can happen to a parent. And what's important to understand is when Donald Trump sells World Liberty financial coin to some of the world's worst criminals, he is fueling the drug trade and killing Alaskans. What really got me going on researching this was when Donald Trump pardoned Ross Ulbricht, the founder of Silk Road, which was a dark money crypto laundering website for drugs. That's the only reason Silk Road existed. One of the world's worst enabler of drug dealers, and Donald Trump pardoned him. What on earth is going on? It's just totally outrageous.
Welcome to the East Anchorage Book Club. I'm your host, Andrew Gray. Today on the show, we have Alaska State House Representative Zack Fields. We are discussing his new op-ed just published in The Current called Look at the Criminals Who Donald Trump is Pardoning. The article explores pardons related to cryptocurrency. In Anchorage, we have at least 3 crypto ATMs where folks can deposit cash and purchase crypto, or vice versa. Cryptocurrencies are essentially digital money. Cryptocurrency wallets are identified by a string of numbers and letters, not names. Crypto transactions don't rely on banks, and those transactions can often be performed without receipts. Large-scale international transfers are much faster than through traditional banks. This enables criminal enterprises like drug cartels to move tons of money anywhere in the world almost immediately. And cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are the primary mode of payment for dark web marketplaces, where folks can purchase hacked personal information, drugs, and other illegal goods. Alaska Congressman Nick Begich is a big fan of Bitcoin, and according to reporting by Liz Ruskin at Alaska Public Media, he's made a lot of money from it, turning a very small investment into around $760,000. He is the sponsor of a bill in Congress that would make the United States a crypto owner. Begich's Bitcoin bill is similar to an executive order President Trump signed in March, which creates a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The Trump family created a crypto business in 2024 called World Liberty Financial. In April of this year, Trump ordered the disbanding of a Department of Justice crypto crime investigations team. In May, Binance, which is the largest crypto exchange in the world, invested $2 billion in Trump's crypto enterprise. And just 3 weeks ago, President Trump pardoned Changpeng Zhao, the founder of Binance, who was serving a sentence after pleading guilty to money laundering charges. His company, Binance, had laundered huge sums of money for Hamas and Al-Qaeda. Zack Fields, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, Andrew.
So today we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency and Donald Trump and basically fraud and organized crime and its relationship with Alaska and Anchorage.
I think people are well aware of the growth of cryptocurrency. I think most people are aware that we have unprecedented levels of corruption in the Trump administration, foreign actors directly buying favors from the president. I think most people don't understand how the Trump administration's corruption directly fuels organized crime and the drug trade. And that is what we need to zero in on, because I think I've certainly met parents who have lost their kids to fentanyl overdoses. We all know people who have lost family members, and that's the most horrible thing that can happen to a parent. And what's important to understand is when Donald Trump sells World Liberty financial coin to some of the world's worst criminals, he is fueling the drug trade and killing Alaskans. That is the nexus.
You have an op-ed today out in The Current. I will link to it in the show notes. And that op-ed explains how cryptocurrency is the central tool used by drug dealers to enrich themselves. Can you read the quote from the Air Force's Regional Counter-Drug Training Center?
Sure. Yeah, cryptocurrency has become their primary means, drug dealers, to move and launder money in exchange for illegal activities, particularly the illegal drug trade. Given a nationwide opioid epidemic, a flooded market of fentanyl, and a decrease in law enforcement availability to focus strictly on drugs, cryptocurrency has allowed drug dealers to move historical amounts of money without having to deal with the issues associated with cash. Look, international drug cartels cannot succeed if they don't have access to capital. Crypto has unleashed an unprecedented amount of capital to drug lords, human traffickers, and the world's worst criminals. And it is a direct result of the Trump administration. I think what outrages me is why is apparently no one in Congress doing anything about this?
So you mentioned that Trump had started his own cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
Liberty Financial.
Yep. And there's extensive documentation about criminals, foreign actors buying World Liberty Financial coins, giving money to Donald Trump, and then being pardoned.
And I've watched these interviews, and Trump says that he has no relationship to it because his sons own that business, not him.
This is why it's the most egregious and the largest corruption scheme in American history. If you go buy World Liberty Financial tokens, you can get a receipt. So literally these criminals who are walking into the White House and then getting pardoned can walk in with a receipt. Hi, Donald Trump. I just gave your family $50 million. And that is exactly what they're doing. The other thing they're doing, and this goes beyond drug dealers, is foreign actors hostile to our interest, Chinese and Arab dictators, are buying his coins and getting better access to AI technology. So it's not just criminals who are profiting from this corruption. It is our enemies who are literally getting more advanced technology by bribing Donald Trump. That's insane.
When Trump came into office, he vowed to make the United States the world's crypto capital. I just want to point out some facts for folks that in the last couple of years, there's been a lot more recognition of the way that crypto can be used by bad actors. But even with that recognition, in the last 2 years, at least 28 billion in cryptocurrency has been tied to illicit activity and has flowed through the crypto exchanges. And that money is coming from hackers, thieves, drug dealers, extortionists. And the hackers is a big one. There is a Cambodian, they call it like the Amazon for criminals, where anytime there's like a hacking of a health system and that people's information has been stolen, people can go buy it there. And then that's where they can use that information to impersonate people. This is how that stuff is valuable, and it's how it's being used to hurt Americans.
Yeah, it's called the Hui One Group.
Yeah.
A Cambodian money laundering operation that the Treasury Department flagged for criminal activity. So when you do the research, Hui Own, the criminal group, launders their money through Binance.
Yes.
Which is run by, again, one of the world's worst criminals who Donald Trump.
I want to point out, Binance in May of this year, $2 billion business deal with Trump's crypto company. So in May of this year, $2 billion for the Trump family.
Yeah, Trump got $2 billion and then he pardoned Changpeng Zhao, Binance's founder. Now, law enforcement officials in the federal government have tried to hold Binance and the Hui One Group accountable, but Hui One has continued to deposit money gotten through crime in Binance after the settlements that were supposed to prevent that activity from happening and after Donald Trump was bribed by $2 billion.
The reason he was in jail is because of 2023 money laundering case. They were money laundering for Hamas and Al-Qaeda, who was using Binance. And because of that, he went to jail, and the company agreed to pay a $4.3 billion penalty, for laundering money for Hamas and Al-Qaeda. Also in April, Trump got rid of the Justice Department crypto enforcement team. So we had a whole office in the Department of Justice, and their job was to basically track down criminals using crypto. And Trump got rid of that whole team.
I actually think this is why Donald Trump is blowing up random boats in the Caribbean, is to distract people from his dismantling of the law enforcement apparatus that actually protects us. Because again, if you want to fight criminals, you have to disrupt their economic means of growth and survival. Donald Trump is directly helping the world's worst criminals in direct contravention to our national security. And he's distracting people by killing random fishermen on the beaches of the Caribbean. It's outrageous. And we should look at where's the crime actually happening. And unfortunately, as we know, when you defund the police, there will be more crime. Donald Trump is kneecapping the very agencies that are supposed to intervene and block these international drug cartels and money launderers.
You mentioned the fentanyl crisis and how crypto plays into it. And I just want to spell it out for people. So the bottom line is that if you're a local drug dealer in Anchorage making thousands of dollars a day, you can't take those thousands of dollars and go into a bank and deposit them, because everyone will ask, like, where are you getting all this money? It will set off red flags. People want to know how you have thousands and thousands of dollars of cash every day. But if they use those thousands of dollars of cash to purchase crypto, then there's not the same sort of oversight. There aren't the same sort of red flags being set off. So that's the way they're laundering it. They're able to buy large amounts of crypto. And then we have crypto ATMs in Anchorage in which you can get US dollars out from the crypto. And there aren't the same sorts of checks and balances that you would have at another ATM. This is something that's local. We have mechanisms for people being able to buy and sell crypto in Anchorage.
Actually, the State of Alaska Division of Banking and Securities. So we have been working on a bill, a money transmission modernization bill, to have greater oversight over these digital money transmission tools, because legitimate banks are very aware that criminals are using this for money laundering. Law enforcement agencies are very aware of it. Jesse Hill is a sponsor in the Senate. We have a House bill. The Senate bill has already passed the Alaska State Senate. It's now in House Finance. I hope we can vote on the floor. And that will basically make sure our state regulations are up to date, because, yeah, you're right. They're these very large international criminals. Changpeng Zhao, who runs Binance. It's important to understand we're at the tail end of the drug trade, right? Street dealers of fentanyl who are laundering their money in these crypto ATMs that are on the street. But we do have to modernize our state regulations, because the money that these local fentanyl dealers are laundering through crypto ATMs is getting mixed in on these international crypto exchanges with the billions of dollars that Binance and Hui1 and the Sinaloa drug cartel and others are using. So whether it's a tiny fentanyl dealer in Anchorage or the Sinaloa cartel or Changpeng Zhao, who just bribed Donald Trump with $2 billion, they're all mixing the money in the same place. And that is why it's such a dangerous money laundering device, because it works for the smallest to the largest drug dealer.
And before people accuse me of telling drug dealers how to launder their money, crypto can be traced. So it's part of a blockchain, which is supposedly this sort of like security device that enables this anonymous money to be stored in multiple places and not to be traced in the same way as a traditional bank. But the bottom line is that it is traceable. Every transaction is recorded on a public permanent ledger, and law enforcement is able to find it.
They have a staff, and that's why what Trump is doing to the department.
Exactly. Like, you need people who are experts in this and who are working on this. Also, the idea that it's an anonymous wallet is not exactly true. The wallets can be de-anonymized and folks can be tracked down. And we've done this. And I think that's how we're able to have reporting on this, because it's not completely anonymous. And furthermore, governments have the right to seize assets. They can seize cryptocurrency when it's part of a criminal enterprise. So we just need to recognize that this is a extraordinarily huge criminal enterprise that needs a lot of resources directed toward it, so that we can track down the folks who are using it this way. Hey, I'm just going to say something straight up. I felt this way all along. Crypto started as a way for drug dealers to basically launder their money.
They're essentially the only users of it originally.
I guess it's part of President Trump's agenda to legitimize and get everyone involved in what to me feels like a pyramid scheme. To me feels like not a legitimate way to make money, is to invest in crypto. But anyway.
The other thing to understand about cryptocurrency is it is a tool used by scammers who target primarily the elderly. I have constituents who have been scammed, and they've told me about it. We've also heard that from the State Division of Banking and Securities. We've heard about it from AARP. The level of fraud going on in our community right now is greater by orders of magnitude than it ever has been. And again, why? Because unregulated cryptocurrency enables it. And you're right, with good regulations, crypto could function like any other legitimate form of currency. The problem is Donald Trump is intentionally breaking the regulations to protect the people who are bribing him. It's really that simple.
Hey, one other thing that you talked about in your op-ed was in the week after Typhoon Halong hit Western Alaska, he pardoned George Santos.
a corrupt New York politician who defrauded a disabled Navy veteran. There's talk about him pardoning Sean Diddy Combs, who's been involved in the sex trafficking ring.
That's according to Donald Trump himself, by the way. That's not speculation. Donald Trump said he's thinking about pardoning Sean Combs.
You quoted Donald Trump as saying, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and he seemed like a nice guy.
What really got me going on researching this was when Donald Trump pardoned Ross Ulbricht, the founder of Silk Road, which was a dark money crypto laundering website for drugs. That's the only reason Silk Road existed. And it took a ton of law enforcement resources to research and prosecute that guy and lock him up. Again, one of the world's worst enabler of drug dealers in the world. And Donald Trump pardoned him. And that's what made me think, wow, if you're going to pardon the guy who literally enabled drug traffickers around the world, what on earth is going on? It's just totally outrageous.
We have some of our own federal delegation who are constantly messaging about fentanyl and drugs and the importance of stopping fentanyl overdose deaths in Alaska, but yet at the same time are being involved in crypto deals themselves. And I'm really thankful that you're connecting the dots that if you really care about fentanyl deaths in Alaska, then you should really care about crypto being the mechanism for these drug enterprises to flourish.
Yeah, you can't preach to Alaskans, don't use fentanyl, and at the same time, stand by the Trump administration while they dismantle the enforcement apparatus that breaks up drug lords.
Well, Zack Fields, thanks so much for being on the show today.
You bet.
I'm dropping links to Representative Fields' most recent op-ed on Trump's pardons, to Liz Ruskin's article about Representative Nick Begich's relationship with Bitcoin, and to the New York Times article from November 17th about the crypto industry's $28 billion dirty money scheme. Thank you, listeners. If you like what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and review us. To contact me, email rep.andrew.gray@aklike.gov or call 907-269-0123.